I'd like to call this meeting to order today. This is committee day for the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission. I'm Kurt Holbert. I'm the chairman. I'd like to welcome you all to the meeting. Thank you to the town of Cookeville and the county of Putnam County for having us this week. Danette, will you call the roll, please?
Dennis Gardner.
Here.
Jimmy Granberry.
Here.
Steve Jones.
Here.
Connie King.
Here.
Jim Ripley.
Here.
Tony Sanders. James Stroud.
Here.
Kent Woods.
Here.
Tommy Woods.
Here.
Hank Wright. Angie Box.
Here.
Brian McLerran.
Here.
Kurt Holbert.
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Danette. I would like to remind all the commissioners, I know we're in close quarters today, but for the sake of the people watching online and recording it, please use your microphones or turn them on when you're talking so they can hear us. They won't be able to hear us. We do have a few guests in the audience today. We got Mr. Leonard Ezel from the Highland Sportsman Club, Mr. Ed Williams from is that Buck? I can't read it. Mr. Robert Cassell from Tennessee Tech University, Mark Rogers, USGS, the Tennessee Co-op Unit, Ronnie Scott, Cookeville resident, and Miss Lisa Verbal, who somehow knows Mr. Ripley. I'm not sure. Anyway, and Mr. Bill Cox, who is a has-been commissioner, will be his title, but former commissioner, and we're glad he joined us. Director Carter, do you have any announcements? All right. Seeing none, I will turn it over to Commissioner Dennis Gardner, the chairman of the Wildlife Committee.
All right. Start off with I'd like to recognize Megan Loop, the Quota Hunts coordinator.
Hello, I am Megan Loop, and I work in the license division as the Quota Hunt coordinator. There are currently 9 hunts that we hold annual draws for. The Quota Hunt program was set up in a way to meet harvest goals while not being detrimental towards resources. There are currently 5 of our hunts that are open now. It's the WMA Big Game Youth, WMA Elk, Youth Elk, and Cherokee Party Dog hunts. Not all of our hunts use priority points, but the WMA Big Game does, and the Youth WMA. Cherokee and Elk do not have priority points. A priority point is granted when you enter an unsuccessful application. So if you apply and are not drawn, you will accrue 1 point per draw. If you are drawn and you've saved points, those are used and you are reset to 0 for the next year's draw. Applying for quota hunts is done at license agents, regional offices, or on our website. You can see here our website. That quota hunt link takes you to log in. If a customer has had a boat registration licenses with us in the past, they already have an account, and they'll log in. They'll choose whether they want to apply as a party or an individual or join a party. Our parties also vary. With the WMA Big Game, the maximum is 15 per party. With the Cherokee dog hunts, it is 50 as a minimum. That comes into play with the improvements that we've made for this year. So each application is done as an individual, and they'll be added to cart. You fill out your application and you submit and check out, and that is how those are submitted through the system. This year, we have added the ability for party leaders to add their members while they're starting their application. So they will either enter the person's TWRA number, first name, last name, etc., and the system will pull them up. They'll select that customer and add them to their party. In this, the leaders are responsible for the fees that would go with those members. If a member has a sportsman's license, lifetime sportsman's license, or a senior sportsman's license, they do not incur the $12 non-refundable fee. We've also added, with the implementation of zones on the elk hunt, we've added a box to tell you where those zones are throughout the application process. That way our customers can make the most informed decision. We've also added a manage tab to the submitted applications. From here, customers, or well, party leaders can edit those applications, and you can also print applications from years past, which will have member information like that TWRA number if you're adding 50 members to your party. The way that the lottery works is the application is usually run for about 30 days. The application deadline comes, and that stops any incoming applications and starts the preliminary testing. Preliminary testing is to just make sure that all the business rules were followed. If anybody has duplicate applications, they would be disqualified at that time. Then the system runs the lottery. That runs in a hunt with priority points. It would run those with the highest priority points first until there's no draws left. The final accuracy testing is to just make sure the system ran properly, to make sure that those that had the most priority points were drawn first, and to make sure that there's no hunts that were chosen that are left over. The results are then published. They go on our website, and there's an email sent to both successful and unsuccessful applicants. As soon as that is sent, the permits are available on our website, and the customer can print that permit at any time. Those electronic permits are used in place of the physical permits that we've sent in the past. With the WMA hunt specifically, since it's the only one that has any leftovers, it has a leftover sale that will start August 21st this year at 8 a.m. Those are first come, first serve. And this is what those electronic permits look like on the website. You see it says click to download a Word document, and that can be printed as many times as necessary for the customer. The only hunt that doesn't include is Oak Ridge due to security, but every other hunt can have this printed permit. And that is the overrun on the improvements to the quota hunt program. Yes, sir.
You said that you notify the winners,
Yes, sir.
and you also notify the people that were
Unsuccessful?
yes.
Yes, sir.
So they get this.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Okay, thanks.
And that typically goes out via the email that's on their account. If there's not an email, they will get a letter in the mail.
I got a question, I guess. The leftover sale, is that via electronic, phone, or both, or?
Both, and they can also get those at license agents.
Okay.
So
And that
through our
starts,
website.
so a license agent has the ability at 8 o'clock that morning to tie in just like you would from your home computer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the party dog hunt, you said a minimum of 50?
Yes, sir.
And is there a maximum?
Well, 75 is the
Okay.
maximum party size.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? All right, well, thanks for the presentation. It's good to see how that works. I like the improvements, and thank you very much, Megan.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, the next thing on Wildlife's agenda is going to be Commissioner or Chairman Holbert had asked last meeting for the agency to take a look at the duck blind drawing procedures, and there's been some complaints on whether it be consistency or illegal activities associated with the rules, and so I invite Joe Benedict up to speak to that now.
Well, good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today to talk about handheld duck blind drawings, which are slightly different than what Megan talked about. These are 14 locations, 14 wildlife management areas, have handheld blind draws that occur on the first Saturday in August annually. And so the request, again, just to reiterate what Commissioner Gardner mentioned, is that at the end of the last meeting, Commissioner Holbert asked the agency to look at the handheld drawings and make sure that we were being consistent across the state, and also we'll look at ways to reduce the likelihood of buying and selling blinds. So I want to thank the agency. We had a lot of folks throughout different divisions within the agency got together. It's kind of a complex topic, which you might see once we get to that. But we had law enforcement division, legal, licensing, and wildlife division, and also the directors were involved at numerous times in this. So just want to thank our staff for digging into this with us. What I'm going to do, how I'm going to present this to you today is just go through what the blind draw, what we're proposing it would be like beginning this year. And so I've got black on the screen, which are items that do not change from last year. And then when I get to the blue text, those are changes that we are considering making, not quite finalized yet, but I think this is where the agency, including all the divisions in the director's office, this is where we think we're going to go with this. So I want to share that with you today, just to kind of get your feedback and think about it. So for those of you that haven't been to a drawing, just follow along carefully. Those of you that have, some of this will be familiar to you. So there's no change to the application process. So at these 14 locations, actually there's fewer than 14, we grouped some of these blind draws together. Folks show up, there's license requirements to enter the draw. No change to that. The application is you apply as an individual. We have a card. You fill out your information on the card, tear the card in half. So you hold one piece of the card. The other piece of the card goes into the barrel. Okay. Once everyone is signed up and entered, their information is in the barrel. We spin the barrel. There's some instructions given by our staff, and then we begin the draw. Okay. Everything remains the same up until that point. When someone is drawn, an individual is drawn from the barrel. This is where we are suggesting we change our process. That individual would immediately form their party. So you're allowed to have sign-ons, which would have the same privilege as you as the draw winner. These are essentially your friends, your duck hunting partners. So if you couldn't go hunt that day, they could go in your place. So everyone would ultimately be issued a card that allows them a privilege for that blind for the entire season. So the card is drawn. That the person we're calling a party leader would come up. They would bring their friends with them. We would take the kind of the stub. We tear it in half. Half's in the barrel. We'd collect all the stubs or the applications from the sign-ons. We put them all in a binder clip. The party leader would fill out a new card, just with their name on there, TWA ID number. Put it in a second barrel. And this would occur until the number of party leader cards in the second barrel equal the number of blinds at that location. So for example, Camden has 48 blind locations. So we would do this first draw 48 times. Those individuals that were selected would create their parties, and there would be 48 names in the second barrel. Okay, you guys with me so far? Then this is where the second drawing would begin. And so this party leader card, that we're just calling it that to help communicate that, is pulled from the barrel. Again, the second drawing. That party leader would then select their blind location, which we've done in the past. And then these blind holder permits, these cards, these sign-on cards, are issued by our agency right there on the spot to the pre-established party members. So again, we're selecting your party before you select your location. And this will help with some of the complaints about buying and selling and those kind of things. So again, this would continue until all 48, just staying with the Camden example, until all 48 blinds have been selected. And so that would conclude the second drawing and the final drawing of the day. So we're working to finalize the details of this. We've got to create these new cards, these second batch of cards. They'll be a different color. We don't want any confusion about if somebody was in or out of the drawing. So, and we're hopeful that we can get this done in time for this year's duck blind drawing. So we feel like this is kind of the best options that we have this year to meet your requests for consistency and to address buying and selling of blinds. So Here, I just put this kind of as a summary. Again, this is a two-stage drawing that we're proposing. You form your parties after the first draw, and the second drawing is for locations only, so it'll be a much smaller draw. The sort of a policy or process of how we do that, but I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Chairman Holbert.
Joe, I just want to just say thank you for your quick work, and a lot of other people I know helped out on this, and you know, I definitely think it's a good start, and I appreciate the hard work and the quick work, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, anybody can. Go ahead, Connie.
He gave me permission. So I understand from the past, the difference is the first drawing, they got their blind the same time their name was, as immediately they did their party and got their blind then?
Correct.
Everybody has to be present
Correct.
in the party before you can sign them on.
Correct. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Okay, everybody, and then they go, so in the past, they got their party, they got their blind.
Correct.
So the difference then is they get their party, but they have to be redrawn.
Correct.
They may be at 48 number for the next time. Okay.
Correct.
Just making sure I'm.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Just to remind everybody, if you haven't, aren't as familiar with the rule, I've read it recently, it is stated in the rule that it's illegal to buy or sell those blinds. Commissioner Ripley?
Well, that was my question. Obviously, cards are non-transferable.
Correct.
So if an officer checks that blind and there's a person in that blind doesn't have a card, that person's in violation?
They could be.
Commissioner Ripley, if the blind card would give someone privilege to that blind provided they're in the blind before legal shooting time. If that blind card holder is not in the blind at legal shooting time, that blind becomes eligible for anyone to hunt out of that day. So if someone was in the blind with a card that did not belong to them and they represented that they had that card, they would then be in violation.
Thank you.
Are there anybody else with questions? Anybody? Go ahead,
Okay,
Connie.
another clarification. You can be in the blind with the card holder. You do not have to have a card. You do not have to be on that party.
Correct.
So is there a limit to the card holder? Can he have 5 people, one part? Does it matter how many he has that are not card holders, as long as one card holder?
Right. The limit in the blinds is 8 people 16 years of age or older. You can have unlimited number of children, but you can only have 8 in the blind. But right, if I have a card and my other card holder friends in my party aren't available, I can invite any other folks up to that maximum of 8 to hunt with me that day.
Okay.
Isn't there a potential there that an individual with a card could,
Can
it
I ask?
wouldn't be legal, but it could happen?
Correct. And I have the rule. If anyone would like to see the rule, I can hand out a copy of the rule, that piece of it. I guess
That'd be
law
great.
enforcement, I'm
Thank
not
you.
an attorney, so I think he might be able to help out.
Thanks. I don't really have any clarifying comments, but entertain any questions that you might have. It's, like he said, the limit is 8 persons in there. If one person that's drawn that has one of those sign-on cards, or is the one that drawn the blind, they get in there, and they're in there before legal shooting time, they have that blind for the entire time they want to stay there. Only one of them has to be in there. It could be any of the sign-ons. But if somebody's in there before legal shooting times, and the card holder, one of the card holders shows up, he can make them leave, and then they can take the blind. If it's after legal shooting hours and somebody claims it, then it's the person that has claimed it's blind. You can't run them out after that point if you have the card or not. But yes, Commissioner Ripley, it would be illegal if somebody was to sell that, that if they had a card and they sold hunts to other persons and guided out of that.
Any other questions from anyone on the commission? You don't have to be on the committee, just ask any questions you got. I think we're pretty good, y'all. Thank you very much for the hard work. I appreciate it, and hopefully this will help some.
Thank you.
All right, next I'd like to call Wally Akins, Wildlife Program Coordinator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission. Good afternoon. My name's Wally Akins. I'm Region 3 Program Coordinator. Today I'd like to propose some date changes for the bear and deer hunt seasons on the South Cherokee WMA, and it's Proclamation 1904. South Cherokee WMA is in Region 3, the southeastern part of the state, in McMinn, Monroe, and Polk counties. We work in close cooperation with the U.S. Forest Service on this WMA, and the boundaries lie within the Cherokee National Forest. Traditionally, statewide bear hunt zone dates, which in this case is bear hunt zone 3, and the WMA bear hunt dates for the South Cherokee have always aligned and occurred simultaneously. The statewide bear hunt zone 3 has 4 segments. The first segment usually begins in early October, sometimes late September, depending on if there's 5 weekends for that month. The fourth segment ends in late December or sometime around New Year's. The second and third segments fall around the 1st of November and the middle half of December, respectively. I don't really know, but we estimate around 1,200 or so hunters that hunt this WMA in bear season annually. Last year, we did make a mistake when projecting dates for the 2019 bear hunting season on the South Cherokee WMA. Currently, the bear hunt zone 3 season dates and the WMA dates do not align, and we feel this could have negative impacts to both the hunter and the resource. And we wish to make some small housekeeping edits to correct this mistake. I guess depending on where you're sitting, but to the left of the screen are the dates for the bear hunt zone 3 seasons. Zone 3, as I mentioned before, has 4 segments set generically based on standard calendar dates. For example, segment 1 begins the Saturday following the 4th Saturday in September, and segment 4 would run 4 consecutive days beginning the last Thursday in December. The red text shows where the current dates fall outside the statewide bear season. By not realigning these dates, it does not give the best opportunity for the hunter, as well as increase the potential for law enforcement issues such as trespass or hunting in close seasons. Subsequently, our party dog hunt dates are based on what the WMA and statewide bear season dates are. If you will notice, the party dog hunt dates are the first 2 and the last 2 days of the first segment of the bear hunt, and the first 2 days of segments 2 and 3. As a result of the bear season date changes, our party dog hunt dates would also need to be corrected. The blue text is the recommended 2019 seasons to align the WMA hunts with the statewide bear hunt zone 3 season. Accordingly, the party dog hunt date changes would need to be changed slightly to fall within that corrected bear season date. These changes are not anything new, but simply realigning the dates to what has taken place on the South Cherokee essentially since we've implemented the bear season on that WMA. Because of the bear hunt date changes that we just looked at, we would also need to adjust some of the deer gun season dates as well. The most popular deer hunt on the South Cherokee is the gun season, the deer gun season. Typically, it's 2 segments, one segment in November, the other in December. They have around a total of 24 days. It covers 4 weekends and also falls within the Christmas holiday, and I don't have it on the slide, but also the Thanksgiving holiday as well. The deer hunts do not overlap with the bear hunt days. On this slide, to orient you, the left of the screen are the days that, for the bear season dates that we want to avoid for the deer seasons. With the current deer hunt dates, we have the young sportsman's and the deer gun hunt season dates falling within some of the bear hunting dates. Further, the first segment of the deer gun hunt does not fall within the traditional Thanksgiving holiday. This year, Thanksgiving is I think the 28th of November. The new deer hunt dates that we propose would totally avoid the bear season dates, provide the same opportunity for the hunters as far as number of days to hunt, number of weekends to hunt, and also it would fall during the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays. The same for the bear hunts. These deer hunting dates are nothing new, but simply realigning back to what was traditionally taking place on that WMA for years. The agency recommends passage of Proclamation 1904. The calendar date changes only for the South Cherokee bear and deer gun season dates. This is the time I'll take any questions from the commission.
All right, thank you, Wally. Can you back up one time and let me see the previous dates on for the youth and then what you changed it to, so I didn't see them together. And
We don't have the youth. Let's see. Yes, we do. I'm sorry. Yeah, 12th and
Okay.
13th for the young
is
sportsmen.
is the youth always after the first session of bear?
And to my knowledge, yes, it is, because
Okay.
it's always that last Saturday of September or first Saturday of October is the bear Zone 3 season.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I was just curious. Are there any other questions from the committee or commission concerning this?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept this.
All right, we have a motion to accept. We have a second. All right, a second from Commissioner Stroud. I guess this will be a committee vote, so just on the committee. All in favor of passing Proclamation 1904, say aye. Aye. All against? Ayes have it. Passes committee. Thank you, Wally. I appreciate it. Chairman, that completes the Wildlife Committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Gardner. I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Angie Box, the chairman of the Fisheries Management Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Holbert. I'd like to recognize Chief of Fisheries, Frank Fiss. Said that without a tongue twist. That was good.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. I just have a couple announcements before I introduce this next topic. We're in June. Last June 8th was Free Fishing Day, and I wanted to thank everyone in the agency that was involved in Free Fishing Day. That touches a lot of divisions. Each year we host about 80 events throughout the state, and we provide catfish for most of those events, about 86,000. Typically we serve about 15,000 kids and their families at these events, and locally there's the guy that keeps up with all the data on this that we do collect. He says there's over 250 local sponsors to take care of the kids for that day. So it involves a lot of coordination for a lot of our staff and local organizers, and I just want to thank everyone for that effort. Another topic I wanted to touch on was Gibson County Lake. At the last commission meeting we heard from some from people from Gibson County Lake that were concerned that tournament fishing on certain days was crowding out the ramps, or the whole access area, I guess, to fishing, and they were concerned about the health of the fish as well. And we've circled back and looked more at the data on those fish populations, and that lake that bass population is doing very well. It can and should support tournament bass fishing as one of the many ways people enjoy that lake. The issue of the crowding, I called over there to talk to the concessionaire to see if there were any simple fixes we could do to make people more aware of when the tournaments are going to be, and it didn't seem like we had a really good fix at this time, but it really raises a bigger question